No, but then I'll get off the crutch.
You know?
But that's moment.
Watch what happens when I push mine on.
But you with a crutch.
That's, see how green it
That's when
turned
you're
green?
taking, that's what we're
Here's
taking
it.
time
Yes.
away from,
Okay,
Being
so that
natural.
means it's working.
you know, being the way we're supposed to. We
Tell me
won't
when
even
you're
take
ready.
crutches.
Okay, we're going to
See, with this
start.
stuff, this,
Okay, we're ready.
we'll turn this thing off?
Wanna
turn this off?
What off?
It's like,
If you, it doesn't matter to me if you don't need it.
because I don't really need it right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but I
Right.
think to me, I wanna make
Okay.
sure that
Here we go.
how.
All right. Okay, there's-
If I was in-
Is it going?
Yes.
Okay, we're on for the rest of the class.
I was-
Okay.
When I was involved, but that's why I just said what I said because.
Okay. All right, okay, everybody. Now, there's a
Because I
couple
lecture
things.
somebody on this.
There's a couple of things that I want to, I put up on the board. I was just going to kind of give you a quick thing on something a little bit digressing from this, and let's do it real quick. When we look at the moon in a chart, you can tell a lot about it just by its sign it's in, whether it's air, fire, or water. The moon is very emotional in water signs, okay? Obviously, it rules that. So what are the water signs?
Cancer, Pisces,
Scorpio.
Scorpio.
You got it, 3. There's only 3 of each, right? So now, the earth signs are much more down to earth, as we say, practical. Okay? They are that, okay? But when I look at, I just want to put up one to give you some example. These are air signs. They tend to feel with their minds. They tend to be very intellectualized, their emotions. I think I didn't recall who it was, Tolstoy or Montaigne, it doesn't matter. Said to reason about love is to lose it, okay? To reason about love is to lose it, to lose your reason. To reason about love is to lose it, to lose your reason. In other words, when you always try to figure out what love's about, you're trying to put a definition on it, or to circumscribe it. You know, love is eternal, you know? You're never in, you know, you can be in love. How many of you have been in love? But have you ever been in hate? No, you know why? You're never in hate. You can hate somebody, but you're never in hate. Because love is embracing, love is encompassing, love makes you part of something. So you can say, I'm in love, but you never have said, I'm in hate.
You're enraged.
You can be enraged, that's different. But the whole point is that if you have Moon in Gemini, like I do, emotional needs met with what? Travel, reading, constant need to be active in mind and body. Not so much in body with me, but anyway, when I was younger probably. So, and again, it's always trying to rationalize and understand feelings. It's a little detached. Anytime you see Moon in air signs, they're a little more detached than signs that are, it's particularly the water, and I would say the earth. The earth signs, the Moon in earth signs tends to be more attuned to the earth itself. Their soul's connected to the earth. Okay? You know, I think somebody wrote, was it one of the great writers said something about every Russian has a bit of a peasant in them. You know, they're close to the earth. You know, we think of peasant as a negative thing. It's really was somebody that was close to the earth. We've kind of demonized. We talk about rednecks, people that are, you know, from the south, or we talk about farmers as if that's not a positive thing. But you know, the real true earth sign, earth moons are real close to this. Back to the Moon in Libra, emotional needs are met through the partner, and they often reflect their partner's moods. Insecurity without reinforcement from their partner. They can be very insecure, Moon in Libra. Remember, the moon is the child in you. It's the nurturing child that needs to be suckled. And if you have a lot of afflictions to a moon, okay, you tend to be, you can have an addictive personality, okay. If it's Mars, it'll be often hurtful. Addiction. Saturn, depression. Mars, Saturn, Moon, Saturn afflictions are rough on a person because they produce melancholy and moodiness. And again, we're losing my thought here, let's see. The Moon in Aquarius, seemingly detached emotionally. I find that sign, Moon in Aquarius, to be one of the most detached and emotionally guided by intellect. That's they're very analytical, and not so much analytical as they are kind of just detached is the word. It's Uranus Aquarius, you know, that Uranus thing, it's eccentric, kind of detached, okay?
The speed of their emotions is very difficult to be followed.
Exactly.
They live in the speed of emotions.
Exactly, I like that. And also, moon in Capricorn is difficult, even though it's their sign, because it's opposite, it rules. Cancer is the sign it rules. The moon in Capricorn doesn't often like to be touched. They have an aversion to it almost. You know if somebody's got a moon in Capricorn, you know, they don't like you to come up and hug them and touch them and, you know.
But they like.
Well, they may, you mean if they have moon in Capricorn, they want to touch you?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on who he is.
Well, they probably wanna use
Could
you.
be other, could be other aspects.
He's my son, he's
Capri.
my son,
Well, that's different.
and
now.
he
You-
likes.
That's different. He's your
Yeah.
son. I'm talking about general feeling around other people.
But
Generally
okay.
they're not embracing of others right away. They're a little bit shy of others.
Yeah.
Does that fit in?
Moon
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Capricorn has serious problems
Mhm.
showing their emotions.
Yeah,
Good,
yes.
good,
yes,
good.
Yes.
Manifesting emotions.
Good for you,
Yeah.
good for you. You guys are great.
See,
When you
this is-
start
this is
teaching the
stuff I
teacher,
don't
you're stepping out there. I like it. So that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with, when we look at a chart, we're looking at a lot of things. We're not just looking, oh, let's see if the moon's afflicted, okay? Let's look and see what sign it's in. Is it in a detriment or is it in a fall? That's why they have those detriments and falls. You know, you need to understand those and learn them. Okay, so let's move on a little bit with where we've gone. You're getting this though. I think if I went no further, I think you got it. But let's look at this one, John F. Kennedy. Let's do this one. Assassination.
I was looking at that just the other day,
Okay.
after last class, I looked at this, yeah.
Okay. So what, look at what he's got.
It's interesting. No, I just.
He's born with, look at the house of death. He's got Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Sun, and Venus, all in the house of death when he's born.
What's
Eighth
that,
house.
the 12th? 8th?
Eight.
Eighth is a house of death?
Yes, you didn't know that,
Yes.
yeah,
The
Yeah.
house of Scorpio,
yeah,
great house.
yeah. And look at this,
Oh, yes, go on.
his son is in Gemini. How was he shot? In a car, moving on a road. I mean, is that Gemini? Huh?
Gemini motion.
His lights are put out that way, right?
Ooh.
Now, let me show you, let's kind of look through, let's go through what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the assassination date. Okay, I'm gonna take you ahead and let's read it first. Find new moon before the event. It's at 23 degrees of Scorpio, exactly opposite is Jupiter, Mercury, and Mars. Exactly opposite, okay? It's conjunct his 8th house of death. Mars is joined with Mercury, indicating injury or violence in a car. Not only Mercury, but it's in Gemini, right? His sun is. The new moon's position is also square Uranus, sudden unexpected events. So we have a perfect T-square set up to his 8th house of death. The new moon also has made several favorable aspects to other planets in his chart that day. So let's look at that. Find the progressed moon. Okay, here at first sight we seem to find no hard aspects from the progressed moon from the 8th house of death. But look again and look closely, for the progressed moon is making a semi-square. That's why I tell you, don't overlook semi-squares. They're same as a square. People, I've read some people.
They're the same as a square?
Yeah, because you'll read some things, they'll say, oh, it's not as hard, not as difficult as a square. Believe me, it's as much of a square as anything as a, those are hard angles, and they don't, the fact that they're perfect almost in aspect, 45 degrees, you know that's for sure. So the moon is making a semi-square aspect to Kennedy's natal midheaven and Saturn-Neptune conjunction. The midheaven, which is power and authority, position in life. Neptune rules attack from behind. Neptune rules Pisces, behind you, remember? I told you that. It's the first house is your Aries and all that stuff, but Pisces stands behind you. That's where betrayal comes from. That's where things from behind hit it. It's like I was doing a chart of a guy here, a doctor, and I said, you've been hit by behind. Remember I told you that, I think? I said, you tend to get hit from behind in car wrecks. And he had to quit practicing. He's one of the top heart surgeons in the world. He'd become a good friend of ours. But he's like, he calls, he had 2 serious rear enders in his car at night, Pisces 2 rules that. And he was injured so bad he had to quit his practice as a physician, as a surgeon, one of the top surgeons in the world. He told me look at this guy. He told me, get off those damn medications. I said, I already did. He said, don't take them. All that stuff they give you after a heart attack, he said, it'll kill you.
Look at that.
I've proven it, it's 5.5 years I'm doing okay, I guess. Maybe I'm not, huh? So whatever.
You are.
Anyway, point being, he, I swear about 6 months ago, he called me and says, Ron, it happened again. Remember that, Elena? He called again, he said, I just got hit from behind again. Actually from the side and behind. But that, you know, it's just in his chart. You know, I'd have to get his chart up here and show it to you how. But it's that 12th house stuff. Okay?
So it's 12th house Neptune.
Yeah, and Neptune, they're all the same. Remember, Neptune, Pisces, 12th house. Think in threes whenever you look at something, okay? Okay, progressed moon from the 8th house of death, but look again and look closely. The progressed moon is making a semi-square aspect to Kennedy's natal midheaven and Saturn-Neptune conjunction, okay? Neptune rules attacks from behind. Saturn is the Grim Reaper, and it's involved in that whole thing. The midheaven and Saturn. Okay, and find the transit Saturn. Transit Saturn is sitting in conjunction 4 degrees of Uranus, again setting off a perfect square to his natal Mars at 18 degrees Taurus, which is conjunct Mercury at 20 degrees, and Jupiter at 23 of Taurus. But it was a favorable trine to Venus, but that didn't help it. That's his mate. She survived. Every chart used in these examples were chosen at random, okay? Anyway, okay. So let's go back and look at some of this. Look at where his moon was. His, wait, let's go to, here's the new moon before the event. 23 degrees Scorpio. It's opposing all these planets, Mars, Mercury, and Jupiter. Mars rules the head. Where was he shot?
In the head.
Okay? And it's opposing it in the house of death, the 8th house. Saturn's, what's the odds that new moon would have been exactly there? I mean, think about it. Now you got Saturn sitting off here at 17 degrees Aquarius. Guess what it's doing? It's squaring Mars exactly within a degree. And it's squaring Mercury and it's squaring Jupiter. You know, I mean, what's the odds of this? You know what I mean?
You're talking about Gemini also, and I was thinking
Transportation.
well, it's transportation. Gemini is the intellect also, that's the head,
Yeah.
the brain. And then also the fact that it's supposed to be more than one bullet. Gemini
Interesting.
twins,
Very
you
good.
know.
Very good. That's how, when you think like that, you're thinking like an astrologer. That's what I want to hear. And notice this. This is an amazing chart. I mean, the odds, you got two things that are real strong right now, okay? What's the other thing we look for in this chart we're going to be looking for? The new moon's opposing house of death cusp, the Mars at violence, Mercury transportation, and Jupiter the future and everything that's involved in that. And we got Saturn squaring the same point, exactly. And we've got one more thing. Wait, transit Saturn. Opposing Venus here. Oh no, it's not opposing Venus, I'm looking outside. Wait, that's squaring these. Oh, quincunx, 150 degrees from here to here, exact. 17 and 17, 150 degrees. See how important those minor aspects, so-called minor aspects are? 150 degrees is like a semi-square. You tend not to see it because it's not an exact opposition and square. But pay attention to them. As the more you develop the skill, you know, learn to pick those up and find them.
Did you ever go back and see, like, when he was declared president? I'm curious, what
No.
that looked like? I'm just curious, I mean, can
Yeah, I
you
didn't,
predict that?
because I was only doing this for one reason. I
Yeah,
wanted
I
to
know.
prove the point. I just wanted to prove how accurate this is. I mean, you can't get more accurate than this, you know?
What was the aspect to Neptune? Because I'm thinking deception and secrecy all around the whole thing too.
It looks like it's conjunct,
Saturn is conjunct Neptune in his chart.
or it looks like Neptune is
Yeah,
conjunct Neptune.
interesting, you know, it's interesting too, because the 10th house is the house of power and fame and reputation.
Oh, nice.
Saturn is also the climb to a high point. The thing with Saturn is, it usually brings you down too. Saturn climbs to the summit, they're very, very success oriented, Saturn in the 10th. Career is 10th house, so they want to get to the top of the mountain. But they generally fall. Nixon was a good example, he was Capricorn all the way, and he fell from high grace in that. simply because of his what, lies, deceptions, all the Saturn stuff, paranoia, you know, lying. I mean, he lied through his teeth.
And they lied to him.
And he
But
cursed,
Saturn-
and
Saturn
he
is
cursed
ten.
continually.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know, that's
He
Saturn.
was constantly cursing.
Yeah, he was Capricorn Saturn, very powerful. He had phlebitis in his knee, guess what the knee rules, Capricorn Saturn. What was that? It's a hardening, a blood clot in the knee. Blood clot is calcifying, crystallizing force, which is what Saturn's about. Saturn calcifies and crystallizes. That's why when you walk around depressed all the time, you know, the scripture says, laughter is good for the bones. People that are depressed all the time, that's why we fight it off. We know it's not healthy. You know, you get in those, you know, dark places. Everybody does. I do it. You get there and you don't realize the physical ramifications of it. It's not just the fact you're depressed. It's not good for you. It produces problems in the bones and skeletal frame and a lot of other things because that's what Saturn rules.
I mean,
Depression, right? So we all talk so much about health and food and all that's great, but you know, you gotta understand consciousness too. You know, you can be above all that and here and step above it. You know, I know I'm always up against this, you know, arguments about, well, Ron, you can't argue that this is not good for you. I says, it's good because I'm gonna praise and give thanks and I'm gonna enjoy it, thank you, forgive me, you know. Forgive me my weaknesses. I'm going to just go on and do it. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to love, I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to enjoy things. If you bring me down with all your accusations and all your things that are going to make you sick, you're going to plant those seeds in my mind. I don't want that. I don't want to be around somebody who's constantly telling me this is going to kill you, this is going to do this is going to make you sick. This, you know, I don't want all that. You know what I mean? Just let me live and laugh and be who I am. I'm sorry, but that's my philosophy. If it's wrong, I've lived 74 years with it. Even in the worst times, there's something about me that's always had a faith in the good. Yes.
Aren't those people also who are saying this is gonna happen, they're planting those seeds themselves too?
Exactly.
Because the conscious mind, the subconscious doesn't know if it's me or you.
I've seen it over and over in my life. The people that are finding the most to judge others or judge themselves.
Right.
They end up with the problems that they tell
Right.
others they're worried about. I've seen it over and over again. And it's like, you know, you can get self-righteous about this. It's like food is like religion. You know, diet stuff and all that stuff. I don't tell
Belief,
what,
yeah.
I don't ever judge other people what they do. I don't try to tell them they should or should. I would say don't smoke if it hurts you because it's going to destroy your lungs. Is that wrong? No, it's not. It's not a judgment. It's just if you want to keep on doing it, keep on doing it. I have a son, 30, what is he, 35? I don't know. You know, he smokes and I can't, I know he's never going to stop, but he's self-destructive. He needs to die. He wants to go that path. I know it. As much as I love him, I can't. I just have to step aside. I said, son, I don't have many years left. I don't need you in my life because all you are is pain and anguish.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I step aside. So you know, 1 out of 5 isn't bad, right? He's the only
Sure,
one.
sure.
The rest have all been great.
And for the record, I learned that here. What I just said, I'm serious.
Yeah. So, you know, well, I mean, the more you study stuff like this, you know, this is amazing. I picked that up, I said, okay, let's look at the history. Why not? And I've done this over and over again, you know? I don't want to keep doing this to you tonight. But I could take anything. Who was this one?
Probably mine.
Uncle Bill.
Uncle Bill.
Well, this guy, one of my students said, would you do a chart on Uncle Billy? He died in the war in a plane, you know, plane crash or whatever, so I did, but
That's not mine.
I don't want to take you through another one of these, but, you know, all of them worked, okay? And, you know, it's pretty depressing, it's all about death, right? So, you know, Anna Nicole Smith and Kennedy and you know, Bin Laden and this guy here, but they all worked. And I can keep doing this, you know, okay? And people, another thing, this is important. This is important. If a road has a bridge out and we just let the driver go their way, if we know it and we don't try to get them to take a detour or avoid the risk of life of them, I think the latter would be the case. Would Kennedy have been well advised to have a competent astrologer warning him not to drive in an open car while in Dallas? Could such a caution advice have changed history? Who knows? You know, but you know, this is a pseudoscience, you know what I mean? They made fun of Kennedy, wasn't Kennedy's that had hired an astrologer?
Yeah, but that lady got famous, she predicted his death.
Yeah,
I forgot her name, but she got famous after
yeah,
that.
yeah.
She said, don't go to Texas, you're gonna die.
You know, I actually have heard the news article about her death. I just pulled it out yesterday. I think I threw it away. I shouldn't have, but it was about her. Yeah. So, okay, we covered a lesson in tragedies, death, and destruction. Probably nothing is more defining and convertible than death, near death, and destruction. Most of us as astrologers avoid predicting such things as we know its impact upon a client psychologically. Could be as bad as the event itself. My feeling is what we need to look ahead and tactfully and sometimes firmly lead our clients away from danger when it appears in their charts. As Shakespeare most aptly said it, be true to thyself and must follow night to day. Thou canst then be false to any man. And the more you discover about yourself astrologically, the knowledge and acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses, the more perfect you'll be as an astrologer and interpreter of the stars. And that's the end of that show. So, where are we at? We are understanding something that I wouldn't normally teach at this level. I don't normally teach this to anybody right now unless they're advanced astrologers. But what I'm hoping with you guys is, because I see a great amount of talent here, and it just means you need to get the impetus, the fire in you to learn this. And then you'll have the tools because you'll remember these things. You say, oh, I remember Ron said there's only 3 things to look at in the chart if I want to look at a prophecy, if I want to predict something. I'm not telling you it's the only way, but it's my way, and it works. Simple. And it's tried and tested. You have no idea how many people I've counseled that have had aspects that have been like these, that I've redirected their lives, I've changed things for them because I've guided them. It doesn't mean that, that everybody's going to listen to you, because not everybody will. But a lot of people come to you for guidance and counsel, you can guide them. And above all things, above it all, is that constant refrain that I play over and over to you all, is that what? The simplest in all things, the childlike faith that you need to have and keep walking in it, and that is what? All things work together for what?
Good.
For good, for them that love God. And are called to His purpose. You're all called to His purpose. Second thing is that let the fruit of thy lips be the what?
The sacrifice
Ooh.
Of praise.
Oh my goodness.
Good for you. And let the fruit of thy lips be the sacrifice. It means you won't feel like doing it. Next time you have a cross to bear, next time you have a nail being put in your hand, next time you feel like you're being oppressed by somebody, or somebody says something that's accusatory or negative to you, instead of getting all disturbed by it, just under your breath say, praise the Lord, thank you. What are you trying to teach me here? It's all working together for highest good. I'm not going to be misled by this. I'm not going to be deceived by the deceiver who would have you believe what? That you're separated from good or God. That's the liar. That's in Hindu it's called Maya, right? My wife always corrects me. Which is illusion. So you want to break through the illusions of separation from good. Don't believe in that lie, because that's how he gets you divided. Separates you from the truth. And the truth is it's all working together for your highest good. I know things happen in life that seem insurmountable. We all have experiences, and we will in our life. And we all have to go the same path. It's like I saw a tombstone once when I was in the Philippines, when I was in the Navy, walking through a graveyard. And it said, this tombstone was amazing. It says, halt, stranger. As you go now, so once was I. As I am now, so shall you be. So
Wow.
travel on and follow me.
Whoa.
Whoa, that caught my attention. That really did. I said, oh my God. But think about it for a minute. We're all going the same path, no matter what. That's part of it, part of the journey. And and not believe in the illusion that we're going to be separated. All things are working together. All things are working together. And so I say to my son, I said to my wife, no matter what happens in life, don't get caught up in the illusion that you're separated from good. No matter how tragic it seems, that's when you need to raise your voice in praise and thanksgiving. Because that's when the miracle happens. It's the greater the darkness, the more power your light has. Light and love are the same. God is light, God is love. He's intelligence, He's all those things. He's light. And how does this manifest? Light and love. That's how it manifests. So when you're in that darkness, when you're overwhelmed by things that seem to be insurmountable, That's when you raise your voice in praise. That's when you raise the light. That's why when Paul and Silas were beat, falsely accused, and cast into prison, around midnight, the other prisoners heard them singing praises to God. Are they out of their head? Are they crazy? What they got to praise for? But they knew the magic of that praise and that thanksgiving. And they worked a miracle. The earth quaked and the shackles fell off. You say, oh, right, that's a bunch of stories in the Bible. No, it's not. My shackles fell off when I learned it. My prison opened up once I learned it. It didn't happen by any other way but by praise and thanksgiving. The pro board, I told you the story. Thank you. What are you being facetious, Watson? No, sir, I'm not being facetious. Why do you say thank you? Well, sir, I believe the combined years of wisdom on this board is greater than my age. It must have been a correct decision or you wouldn't have made it in my behalf. As I turn to go, get back here, Watson. We changed our mind. What changed their mind? My response. And what is changing your life? Your response. The word responsibility is an amazing word. It's ability to respond. We spend our whole life trying to train our children to have a good response. If they're playing a game of checkers and they get in a fight over and kick the table over and act like immature, you say they haven't grown up yet, they got a lot to learn. It's a poor response. The whole life you spend teaching your children and yourself is to learn response. So every time you get in a situation that seems other than good, you have to take and hold on to the faith in good. And you have to exercise what the God's will is for you. And that is simply stated, rejoice evermore, praise without ceasing, and in all things give thanks, for this is the will of God concerning you. That's simple, that's His will. So start doing that, live it, act it. Don't get caught up in the drama of, I got Saturn in my chart doing this and that. Say, praise the Lord, thank you. Whatever lessons you have for me, I'm here to take them. You understand? It's like Saturn coming down to Job.
But he's a reaper too, so I mean, I was reaping during that period.
You what?
I was reaping. I
Good.
had stuff come in that was totally unexpected. So I don't view it as all negative now.
I know you don't.
I can
I
see
know.
it as being, it can have its positive
Exactly.
side, but it's stressful, it can be stressful, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So, things happen.
You know, but we're all here to manifest that. Remember, there's only 3 responses to life. You can accuse, you can be apathetic, or you can praise and give thanks. And if I can get you to praise and give thanks and walk in light and love and truth and not be fearful, because fear is active faith. It's faith in something other than good. It's what it is. And by your faith it's accorded unto you. So if you have faith in something bad, guess what? You're going to bring it about. You're going to make it happen. Because the more you hold that in faith, the more you visualize it as a possibility, the more you're going to create that condition that you fear. Like Job said, what I feared most came upon me. After Satan was allowed to come down and do all those things, the Lord gave him permission. He said, go down and do what you would. Skin, bone, and flesh, leave him alone. Well, he lost everything. His cattle, his crops, his children. Everything could happen to a person could happen. So Satan comes back up, says, let me work on him again. But he says, skin, bone, and flesh is nothing. Let me work on him there. He'll curse you to your face. That's all he wanted him to do. Curse him. And of course, the Lord gave him permission. He went back down. He got all manners of boils and diseases on his skin. Nobody wanted to be around him. It was just so repugnant to even be around the man. His wife left him. And Job said he'd sin not in anything he said. And at the end of the story is, the Lord gave him more than he had before. Okay? Yes?
With this concept, what would you think is the proper response a man coming at you with a knife? Meaning, needing, to do you
Yeah.
harm.
That's why I studied jiu-jitsu and judo. Okay, because I want them to bring that energy to me so I can redirect it. I'm not saying I may not get stabbed, but I've learned that the inevitable direction of that energy must be to fall. And I'm going to make sure
That's an interesting way of saying it. Redirections, exactly. So when they come at you, you redirect what they're doing. Physically, you're redirecting. Okay, that's a good answer. I'm thinking more in the sense of fight fire with fire. It's not necessarily, it's redirecting that fire coming at you.
To me, the most
Interesting point.
sacred, I believe the most spiritual form of combat is jiu-jitsu or judo. That's why I've studied a lot in my life. I believe that because, and even Christ had said they attacked him once in Scripture. and it said he walked through the crowd untouched, you know? They
Didn't even see him.
Well, I believe that he was able to, you know, move that energy. The thing is, have you ever seen key energy in China where people try to push somebody over? They
Yeah,
can't.
gee, I know
Gee.
people who've done that.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
and they center that energy and they become like a rock, you can't move them. And they can take that same energy and knock somebody down without hardly a touch. But the point being, we're not chief masters, I'm not. You know, we all know what we know, we do what we can. I don't think about that, I'm not in a position, you work as a guard in places where you may be and subjected to those things. When I remember sitting with you and I was saying the one thing I'd watch is not so much because being big isn't necessarily, it makes you more fearful to others, so you gotta be careful with that energy. And that right, Zeus? Now if you're big like this,
That was the reinforcement right there.
yeah, he's right here.
You have to say hello.
Yeah,
After your
yeah,
words.
I know. He says, you
Maybe
don't want to talk violence, let me get in
Maybe
front of
he's
this.
redirecting the conversation.
Yeah, but anyway, let's go on, I wanna give you a quick test, and I'm gonna let you out of here. And it's quick, don't worry about it, just do the best you
What's the importance
can.
of the rising sign in a chart?